the Byzantine forces, and Abdullah ibn Hudafa radiallahu anhu was included in this force. And when it was Allah's will that some of the Muslims will become prisoner, and Abdullah ibn Hudafa radiallahu anhu became a prisoner. This Byzantine emperor had heard about the Muslims, about their tremendous sacrifices for the sake of Allah, their willingness to give life for the sake of Allah. He heard about them, he heard about the sincerity of the faith of the Muslims. So he really wanted to confront some of the Muslim captives. It was Allah's will that, and he ordered his men to bring any of the Muslim captives before him. It was Allah's will that Abdullah ibn Hudafa radiallahu anhu will be brought right before him. The Byzantine emperor stared for a long time at Abdullah ibn Hudafa radiallahu anhu. He stared for a very long time, because he knew about their courage, about their boldness, about the sacrifice that they make in the cause of Allah. So they are no ordinary people, they are no ordinary soldiers, they are mujahids of the finest caliber. So he stared at Abdullah ibn Hudafa radiallahu anhu for a long time, and then made a proposal. He said, I have a proposal for you. Abdullah ibn Hudafa said, what is it? He said, become a Christian and I will release you. Abdullah ibn Hudafa replied, death is preferable 1,000 times to what you have just asked. That is what you have proposed. The Byzantine emperor, he replied, I see you are a bold man. However, if you give up your religion and embrace Christianity, I'll give you share in my authority and make you my aide. Abdullah ibn Hudafa radiallahu anhu replied, even if you give all that you possess, and even if all the Arabs possess, I shall never give up the religion of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then the king replied, the emperor replied, then I shall kill you, then I will kill you. He said, do what you like. So then the king ordered his men to put Abdullah ibn Hudafa radiallahu anhu on the cross, wooden cross. First he asked them to throw spears near his feet and near his hands. He didn't really want to kill him. First he wanted to win him. So they were throwing spears near his legs and his hands, all the time asking him to give up, to embrace Christianity, or at least give up Islam. Give up Islam at least, or embrace Christianity. Abdullah ibn Hudafa refused. But then something came to the king's mind. He said, all right, bring him back. So he ordered his men to bring him back from the wooden cross. Then he ordered his men to bring a huge pot, very huge pot, and then asked them to fill the pot with oil. And then he asked them to heat that oil up, heat up the oil with fierce heat. So it's a boiling oil now. It's a boiling oil. And then he ordered 2 of the Muslim prisoners to be brought. And he ordered one of the prisoners to be thrown into that pot containing boiling oil. And right in front of Abdullah ibn Hudafa. So as soon as the Muslim prisoner was thrown into the the pot of boiling oil, his body immediately got sizzled, and his bones could be seen. His body was so badly sizzled. His bones could be seen. And now the king turned to Abdullah ibn Hudafa and said, would you now become a Christian? So Abdullah ibn Hudafa, this was the greatest test of his life. He said, no, I will not become a Christian. Then the king said, then put him also. Then their men got ready and started taking him towards the pot. Then Abdullah ibn Hudafa, tears flows through his cheeks. He was weeping So the king thought that Abdullah ibn Hudafa broke down. He said, all right, so he is ready to embrace Christianity, so bring him. So you are ready to embrace Christianity. Abdullah ibn Hudafa said, no. He said, damn you, why did you weep then? Why did you weep then? He said, Wallah, I was weeping because I was thinking, now they are going to throw me into the pot. I was thinking that my soul will depart. Only one soul only one body will sacrifice for the sake of Allah. I was wishing that I could be as many souls as the number of my hairs in my body. That is, I could be as many Abdullah ibn Hudafas as the number of hairs in my body, all dying for the sake of Allah, all dying for the sake of Allah, coming back to life and dying for the sake of Allah again. And the king was stunned by his behavior. The king was stunned by his behavior. This man, even at the face of that death, he says he wants to die again and again and again for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was Abdullah ibn Hudafa radiallahu anhu. Now let us turn to the Adi bin Hatim. Adi bin Hatim is, many of you have heard, he was the son of Hatim Tai, he was a very generous man, Hatim Tai. So Adi bin Hatim is his son. He was the king of Najd. He hated Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam so much that he wrote himself. There was no Arab that I know who hated Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than I did. He hated Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam so much that he fought bitterly with Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 20 years. For 20 years he fought Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he did not embrace Islam even after the victory of Makkah, even after empires were falling into the hands of the Muslims. He did not embrace Islam. Then finally his turn came. In other words, his empire also fell into the hands of the Muslims, and he became a prisoner. He fled to Syria. His sister became prisoner into the hands of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Muslims. So this sister would come to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam every day, and she would say, "O Rasulullah, my father is dead, my guardian is absent. Be gracious to me, and Allah will be gracious to you." So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Who is your guardian?" He said, "Adi bin Hatim." Then Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Oh, the one who escaped from Allah and His Messenger." There was no need to escape from Allah and His Messenger. So she would come again and say the same thing. "Oh Rasulullah, my father is dead, my guardian is absent. Be gracious to me, and Allah will be gracious to you." So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam would ask the same question. What Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was trying to ensure that he told her that find out a trustworthy man from your village, and I will release you. So what Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to ensure her security. So when a trustworthy man was found, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam released her and gave her a handsome camel, plenty of money and fine clothes. Anyway, this sister finally reached Syria, where his brother, the former king, fled. Now no longer a king but a fugitive. To Syria, he took refuge with some Christians there. So when the sister returned to her village, Adi bin Hatim said, "Tell me about this man Muhammad. Tell me about the mission of this man." His sister replied, "You should go and meet this man. If he is only a prophet, you will be blessed. But if he is not a prophet, just a king, you will not be disgraced, because his manners are excellent." So on that basis, Adi bin Hatim started the journey for Medina. No longer a king, but a fugitive. He finally reached the masjid of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there was no protocol. Anybody could come to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the ruler of such a vast empire. Anybody could come. So he came, he finally reached and